Hi, welcome back to our channel, Two Brothers Opinions. My name is Barry. This is my brother Mark.
Yeah, today we're gonna see that there's a lot of stuff in the news today and recently about the JFK
RFK
but releasing all the
documentation.
documents and FBI stuff. So we thought we would actually hit RFK today, not literally hit him, but
No,
somebody already did.
Okay.
Bad joke. But anyways, we thought we would actually go over what we've thought about it and some of the information that we got from researching RFK's assassination. So just to give some data. So he was shot on June 5th, 1968, died the next day. I think you said it was like 26 hours later.
26 hours later.
Yeah, it was
at the Ambassador Hotel?
Yep, he was in LA.
Los Angeles,
Yep.
correct.
He had just finished a speech, and he had the line up going, and now it's on to Chicago. He was second in the polls at that point, but was gaining a lot of steam
To win the Democratic nomination.
Yeah,
for president.
I think it was a Humphrey. I think Hubert Humphrey
was
ahead at that point, but RFK was gaining a lot of steam. So people were expecting that he was going to get the nomination. So he died on the 6th. He was obviously 1968 running as a Democrat for the president. There's a video of RFK Jr. talking about his dad's assassination. It's a cool video. I think it was done in 2023, but it's a cool video. So a lot of the information that I got off of this was from that, plus some of the stuff that we either knew or because you were like 5.
Yeah.
You're all getting ready to turn
yeah.
getting ready to turn 5, but I was like 11, so I kind of remember.
Yeah, a lot more than
I remember watching this stuff, even the JFK assassination. I remember I was like 6 and sitting there at the TV like all those days watching what was going on, watching Jack Ruby, like what it was amazing. But anyways, so what we found out from the RFK Jr. video was that his dad was warned or told to avoid the kitchen when he was done with his speech.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he was told like don't. There's like we can't control that environment. So
who led him to the kitchen?
that's the question. It's like, how did he end up going there? Why didn't somebody turn him around? But he went into the kitchen and didn't get very far because I remember watching it live and even seeing videos after where it seemed like he took a few steps off the podium and all of a sudden they were like, oh my God, like there's chaos going on.
Yeah, I've seen the video.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like massive chaos right away.
Yeah.
You could hear the gunshots.
Yeah, and so he was shot in the back. We'll get to that, but he was like shot 4 times, once in his shoulder pad of his jacket, and 3 times were as his son, RFK Jr. said, 3 of them were fatal, but 26 hours later. So anyways, he's told to avoid the kitchen, and they go through the kitchen. So 24-year-old Sirhan, who was a Palestinian at that point.
Christian Palestinian.
Yeah, he had a...
That's very important.
I think, especially with the temperature of what's going on in the country now. When you say anything about Palestinians or Israelis or whatever, like everybody freaks out.
Yeah.
But this is just data. I mean, he was a Christian Palestinian.
Yep.
So he had a .22 revolver. He was in front of RFK Jr. So
front to the west.
Yeah. So you figure, RFK Jr. or RFK is walking in, and Sirhan is in front of him. Mm-hmm. So 8 shots were fired. None of them from Sirhan hit RFK. The first one...
But he's in jail for the assassination.
Right. The first one went by him. The first one went completely by him and hit a guy who was a UAW union guy. It's called Paul Schrade. He was hit in the head.
United Auto Workers. Yeah.
Right. So he lived, but he was hit in the head. A second one was hitting the door jamb behind RFK, which eventually the FBI took the whole door jamb. They took it and they actually dug out the slug. The next 6 shots, there were there were two guys, Rafer Johnson, who was a decathlon champion for the U.S., and Rosie Greer.
Most people know who Rosie Greer is.
Older people know Rosie Greer.
Yeah.
He was an NFL defensive lineman.
Big boy.
Big guy.
Big guy.
They grabbed Sirhan and bent him over a table. They couldn't get the gun out of his hand.
This is before jail.
Yeah, they couldn't get the gun out of his hand. But it was up and behind him as they had him bent over. 6 more shots went out. So there was 8 shots total. The other 6 shots, there were people that were shot behind.
But none fatal.
None fatal, but I don't believe any of them were fatal. But the gun was pointed away from him, away from RFK, behind, and 6 shots went off, and they could account for every single shot. So they know where every single shot went. So how did he get shot in the back?
He got shot in the back 4 times.
Yeah.
And 3 struck him. Once went through the shoulder pad of his jacket, once in the back, and 2 behind the ear.
Right.
Well, one behind the ear, 1 in the head.
Yeah, and they were and his son RFK Jr. was calling that a carbon tattoo, basically meaning that the gun was pressed right up against him, and it was at an upward angle. And
we looked up, and Robert Kennedy was 5'9.5" inches tall.
Yeah, so he's not a super tall guy. He's not an average. Average is probably 5'7", 5'8", whatever. So he's a little bit taller than that.
Yeah.
But so he's shot in the back. Sirhan is in front of him
on an upward angle.
Right, and he's shot in the back on an upward angle with the gun basically almost touching him. Yeah. One was I guess he was shot behind his ear. And like I said, they were so close range. All shots were at an upward angle.
It's funny that you say that it's a 22, because that's exactly the caliber, and we'll get into that in another video on Reagan. They used a 22, and it was a 10-shot revolver. I believe it was a 10-shot revolver, and we'll go deeper down that rabbit hole because I got a lot of information on that.
Yeah, because we're gonna try and get into JFK and Reagan, those assassination attempts. So there was a security guard that was hired like the day before the ambassador event, Eugene Thane Cesar, who was connected to the CIA.
There we go again.
And he had a top security clearance.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah,
we talked about.
And he worked for a defense plant in Lockheed.
Yeah. And he did have security clearance.
Yeah.
Top
security clearance.
Top security clearance.
Yeah, and had been outspoken against RFK.
But he was hired the day before.
So you're right. So you go hired the day before, connected to the CIA. Behind him,
and that's where the fatal bullets come.
Close range, and honestly, if there's chaos going on, no one would think a security guard being close to RFK would be anything odd. I mean, you would think he's a security guard.
Now, I heard this, but I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe you have a little bit where he wanted to surrender, or they wanted to take his gun, and they never did.
Who?
The
second
Los Angeles Police Department.
No, wanted to take whose gun?
The surrender.
Oh, okay.
What the security guard? What's his last name?
Cesar.
Yeah.
Well, and then interestingly enough, right after the assassination, he left the country.
And he was where?
Well, in the video that I watched, he died in the Philippines in 2021. So where he went directly, I don't know if he went directly to the Philippines. I don't know where he went.
But that's where he ended up.
But he ended up out of the country. So how do they get? It's one of the things. How do you get a guy who's connected to the CIA, also connected to the defense
department,
the military industrial complex?
Complex.
Right.
Yep. That Eisenhower spoke out against.
Eisenhower spoke, but the industrial complex didn't like the Kennedys.
No,
they didn't like the Kennedys at all. So you get a guy who's connected to the CIA, the defense hired the day before. If he had a gun on him, no one would have thought differently. He's a security guard. Hired to protect.
So he'll definitely have a firearm on him.
And having someone blamed targeted with Sirhan Sirhan. Oh, he must have done it. I mean, it just sounds so familiar to even like the Oswald stuff.
Yeah, and researching these things about the assassination, where Sirhan Sirhan said that he was intoxicated. Now, was he intoxicated, or did he just feel intoxicated? Because you also got to remember, in that time, CIA was doing a lot of the MK Ultra mind control.
Right.
So was he taken and used? They used a lot of LSD in the MK Ultra mind control.
Yep.
So I mean, you could read on that. That's public information.
It just also in the video they talked about the guy who did the autopsy, called it the perfect autopsy. So if it was a perfect autopsy and it showed that he had basically powder burns right behind his, I mean, everything points to cover up, which we were just talking the other day. You had mentioned it, that until the JFK assassination, the term conspiracy theory was not even a thing.
It came out 2 weeks after JFK was assassinated.
And it's been used ever since.
Yep.
Everything is a conspiracy theory. But
until proven.
Right, but there were no conspiracy theories until somebody created it right after the JFK murder.
Yeah. That word was not known.
No, I mean that phrase. No, nobody used that.
Nope.
So it's so when you and I understand that this is what I was referencing, this one video. It's not like I just watched one video and I'm talking. Through the years you hear stuff, you read stuff. But this is the stuff that I wanted to point out because anybody can go look up this video and watch it.
We say that all the time.
Yeah,
we're not doing anything new here.
No. But the new part would be our opinion of the information that we know.
Yep.
And to me, there's no doubt at all that this was a hit, and it was set up by hiring a security guard, and they didn't want a Kennedy to win.
And because remember, these are our opinions.
Yeah,
it's not
right. But proven. I don't think they didn't want another Kennedy to win the White House. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I mean, RFK was not liked by a lot of people. I mean, the mafia didn't like him.
Oh yeah, because what happened was, I mean, we won't go down the rabbit hole of JFK's assassination, but
not now.
Not now.
Yeah, we will.
But his dad made a lot of money illegally.
Joe Kennedy.
Joe, the father.
Yeah.
And he had dealings with the mafia in Chicago. And the key to winning the presidency at that time was winning Chicago. And from what I have read or heard, or both, is he made a deal with the mafia to, you help me win Chicago, no one will come after you.
Right, yeah, we won't go after
And as soon as JFK won, he put his brother as Attorney
General, and he went right
after the mafia.
Right, and went right after him.
Right away.
Yeah, which is why they, when you get to the JFK stuff, there's a path that leads to the CIA and leads right to the mafia.
And to Cuba.
Yeah.
And to Cuba.
And to Cuba, Bay of Pigs, the whole thing.
Yeah. It's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah, but so you look at this, I mean, from everything that I know and heard and read and everything else, there's no doubt that this was a planned assassination.
By our own government? We don't know.
Well, you don't know, but
the finger points
to,
but we still don't know.
Because when you see CIA everywhere, it's mentioned everywhere, whether it's JFK, RFK, like CIA pops up everywhere. And now the CIA is supposedly, by law, not allowed to operate within the United States.
Nope, not at all, within our borders.
Except my belief is they do it all the time.
Do it all the time, still to this day.
Yeah, because I think there's CIA. Well, I believe there's information and evidence that CIA had messed around with Trump. Like, there's all kinds of stuff. So, CIA could be in its pure form helpful to the United States to get information about things that happen in foreign countries,
or what's going to possibly take place here or in another country.
Right, but when they're plotting, my words, to affect our country and turn our country in certain directions.
Yeah.
And when you tie that in with the Defense Department, and I think you were saying, was it Eisenhower, about the defense,
military. Yeah,
the complex.
Just watch. I put Google Eisenhower's farewell speech, and he says, "Beware the military-industrial complex."
Yeah,
How they're just starting wars to make people rich.
yeah.
Basically,
Yeah, and
that's what's happening
I
in
think
the Middle East.
said, was it the Bay of Tonkin never really happened, or
The Gulf of Tonkin.
Gulf? Yeah. So there's just so much.
All the Vietnam vets, we
Yeah.
thank you for your service.
Yeah,
They got a raw deal.
Yeah,
but very brave men. If you watch a lot of TV and History Channel, Military Channel, these guys sacrificed, so a lot of people didn't have to go over there.
and the hippies back then
Yeah,
treated them as baby killers and stuff, and it was
yeah.
horrible. But
I can tell you stories. I have friends that were in the military during Iraq and Afghanistan. Sometimes you have to shoot a kid. They pick up an AK and point it at you.
you don't have it. Yeah,
Sometimes you don't have a choice.
yeah,
And you know who you are. One of my friends.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, this is stuff that I had written down. So I don't know what
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of talking. So
No, well, yeah, you pretty much said everything that I know. It all points to the CIA, and I just wish it didn't, but it does.
Yeah.
It points to the CIA with Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. I mean, we could just keep going, and supposedly Trump too.
Yeah, and so then you go like, so who really runs the country? Like who? Where is
The auto pen.
Yeah,
the auto pen runs, as we're seeing now. The auto pen. When you're on vacation, you're signing documents.
Yeah. Except, like I was telling you, that I guess the auto pen
Goes back. How
back.
far?
It goes way back. I don't know if it was was it Hoover? Yeah, Hoover, Herbert Hoover. I don't know. Like it goes way back, and I guess it was deemed as authentic.
Well, authentic as them knowing what it's going to do.
Yeah, when you're
in other words,
when you're sleeping on the beach all day.
And you don't know
And
your
you
name?
don't even know your own name or who your wife is. You think your sister's your wife, and the auto pen is working away.
Yeah.
You wonder.
You wonder who is running the country or was running the country.
Well, yeah, and then who above them? Because you know what, you start to realize whoever sits in the White House isn't running the country.
Well, see, this is something I heard, and I don't know if it's true. There's 10 top secret clearances above the presidency that he knows nothing. In other words, it stops here.
Yep.
And 10 levels above
It wouldn't surprise me.
that he has no knowledge
Yeah.
of.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Oh, and I know this is, we're talking about JFK, but this is, RFK, I'm sorry. This is just something I read the other day where there's 10 states and growing where they're passing the Clean Air Act, stopping the chemtrails
Oh, really?
over their state.
Good for them.
There's 10 states already, and they're trying to get more because they've been busy over here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
On that beautiful sunny day,
There's lines all over them.
It was disgusting.
Yep.
Everywhere. It was Friday.
Yeah.
Friday. Everywhere you looked, the sky had jets flying in. I don't care what anybody thinks that it's just a conspiracy theory or contrails. We went over that. It's not a contrail, and the skies were. At the end of the day, it would just look like one big, massive cloud all over the place.
Always. Yeah. It's. Yeah, and we live in New England, and we've seen them like for forever. So I don't know how much is going on Midwest.
Oh, this is all
West
over the
Coast.
world. If you go back and watch some of the videos on the Iraq War in was that 91 or whatever,
Yeah, I think
the very first Desert Storm,
that would have been.
you could see him in the skies.
That would have been Bush, the father,
I don't know.
or George W. I can't
W.
remember. W.
The-
Oh, that was right after the
Right after
9/11, right? Okay.
Yeah. 9/11. You
So
could
yeah,
see him in the skies.
would have been W.
I watch. There's commercials, and you could see them. In when they show outdoor videos, or you're watching just videos on YouTube, and people are outside. You could see these long lines in the sky.
Yeah.
I know we got off in kind of a tangent,
No,
but it's all kind of related.
Well, yeah, it's all related in
CIA.
terms of there's stuff going on
It's a
that
CIA
the government
program.
that the government never tells you about.
It's a CIA program.
Yeah.
So there we go again. CIA. What are they doing?
I don't know if you go all the way back to probably Agent Orange and stuff like that. It's like they've been messing around with stuff. So
Napoleon,
yesterday or the day before, I think it was 2 days ago, the White House and Trump and the Air Force unveiled the new fighter jet.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, the F-47.
Oh, okay.
They named it after Trump. F-47.
Oh well,
the 47th president.
It was a P-47.
Yeah, but the F-47, it's the new, and Boeing just got the contract because it's been flying for 5 years.
Wow.
And to test it out. It was all tested. A lot of it was test stuff.
The stealth jet, the F-111s, not F-17s, F-117. They were flying for a long time before they were.
Oh yeah, because I guess there were bids out to different people, so different companies made the new jet
prototypes.
Yeah, and so this one's been flying for 5 years. It can carry drones.
Oh wow!
So they said that this thing could be like unmanned, and they said it's the fastest and most stealth.
See, I don't like unmanned stuff.
I know, but it's the fastest and most unstealth fighter jet that we're ever going to have.
To me, you take the pilot, the human error out of combat.
Yeah, because then you got somebody
flying it.
Well, you got somebody with a joystick sitting.
Yeah, well, that's what they do.
Yeah.
When I have a friend that his son was stationed at Nellis in Las Vegas. And that's what they did.
Yeah,
they flew all the drones and did the strikes over Afghanistan and from
halfway around the world. Yeah, they're sitting with they're playing
sitting in these
video
pods.
games.
Yeah,
I mean, it's cool that like maybe you don't lose military people, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, good tangent. But anyway, so
a lot of information.
So we just wanted to hit the RFK's assassination. And this will be coming out next weekend, and then we're gonna try and hit JFK,
a little bit of Reagan,
a little bit of Reagan.
Yep, I know some stuff on that.
Yeah,
read a book.
Yeah, and if we ever, I was telling my brother that if we have a cool book or something, we can give the names of the book and say go buy it. I mean, we don't make any money off of that. We're not publishing books,
no,
but
we're barely reading them.
But I read the one on JFK that Roger Stone wrote, and you have it now. And I'm reading another one about there was an assassination attempt on JFK before he was inaugurated.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
we talked about that.
And so I'm like halfway through that book.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that next
time. So anyways,
we just want to say thank you very much for watching our videos.
Yeah, we're getting comments. We're getting a lot of views on the Second Amendment one. We got a lot of views.
Yeah, 100 at the time. I think there's 117 views.
I think it's up to 120, maybe 120 now.
Oh, okay.
And we got some subscribers, 20. Around 20. So with 20 of them.
Yeah, so we're growing a little at a time.
We're building up. And
like I said, we might not like exactly what we're saying, but it's our opinions. Just like you have an opinion.
And some people are watching it, so that's cool.
Yep. And we're having fun.
Yep. Okay.
So I'd like to say hit like and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell. And thank you very much for watching. And we appreciate you very much.
Yeah. And don't forget that you have a voice. And don't let anyone silence it, especially your government. Because if you see what's going on over in Europe, man, people are getting arrested just for talking.
Yeah, Germany is terrible too.
Yeah,
that's
the
one.
United Kingdom isn't any better. All right, so see you next time.
See you in the next video. Thank you.